Hello there again. Come in. Are you ready for some WrestleMash? As always, we are ready for some WrestleMash. I am Paul, and once again, news everywhere in wrestling, but first, let me tell you about the podcast. WrestleMash is one of the 3 podcast parts which, when formed together, make the mega powers that is the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and on all audio streaming platforms. Liking what you're listening to? Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to leave us
5 stars, baby! Boom!
Yes! And speaking of boom, bringing the boom on this podcast are the mega powers. The Wish Viking himself, Michael Allen, and Hulk Harvey, brother! Yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. Every week, man. Every week we go for it. How are we doing this weekend, lads?
All good in the hood.
Hulk Harvey's a bit depressed. Celtic have just been beaten in the Old Firm. They've put the heat on you, brother. They've put the heat on you, brother.
Well, just try to get a bit of heat on them for the league.
It's a bit of heat for the comeback, isn't it? Aye. The shine and the heat's happening. Comeback's next.
Shit,
Hulk Harvey's the champ before you know it.
Double turn in the next Old Firm match.
Double turn.
There you go. Definitely disappointed, but at the start of the season, if you had told me like this is the way it would have been, I would have probably been like, nah. But I'm quite happy.
We're
in the league. Somber words there from Harvey Smith.
Somber, but yet positive. On a positive note, at least. Slightly positive note. Michael Allen, here's a quick question for you. What would you rather take from a wrestler? Would you rather take a chokeslam from Satnam Singh or a big body splash from Big Van Vader himself? What would you rather take?
100% slam for Vader, because I see him as the experienced safe worker. I don't trust Singh yet.
And the other one's a basketball player. Dear. Well, funny we are talking about Big Satnam himself on this week's show, lads. Another announcement again. Announcements. I've lost the plot of them. Anyway, TV champs, TNT champs, Satnam Singh, Postman Pat. That one wasn't actually true. But as always, we have loads of shit jokes, hot takes, high hopes. Mick, ring the bell. Let's look up the banter. Call an elbow, lads. Another week, another announcement from Tony Khan. He's teased an announcement coming on this Wednesday coming. Obviously, release day, if you're listening. An announcement is coming tonight. Rumours are that this announcement in question is going to be a super show between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, like a massive dream match pay-per-view card. Thoughts, lads? First and foremost, how do we feel about that? Excitement, awesome. Trepidation, worry?
I would...
No. Excited,
Harvey, fair enough.
No.
I would love to see a massive super show, and I would be excited for it if it's done right. And I would love to see them. I'm pretty sure we've spoke about it before on the podcast. We've definitely spoken about it before. I don't know how it's on the podcast. It would be great if they brought back the All-In pay-per-view, but bearing in mind that it wasn't an AEW show, and when it happened, use that as the super show, and it's Ring of Honor, AEW, and New Japan. That would be pretty awesome.
I think where you're leaning is that is my music, mate. That's talking my language, man. It's got potential. I mean, obviously you watched the multiverse of matches, and it maybe didn't quite match your expectation of what you thought going in.
That was what today.
I feel like that's a good lesson in how not to do a kind of multi-promotional show, because it's effectively a house show. There's not much going on really, but with us, it's, I mean, the sky's the limit, lads. The sky's the limit. I mean, first off, matches, the potential for matchups you could get between New Japan and AEW alone, not even including the guys for Ring of Honor, is, I mean, we could be here until release day, which is 3 days in the future. We're time travelers. 3 days in the future, we'd still be listing matches of what you could potentially see. And if you even consider that New Japan's parent company also own Stardom, which is the female promotion within Japan. Like,
I think they have to. I suppose they don't have to, but I'd love to see them give some representation there. And
are we Stardom wrestler?
A dream match on the women's side. Aye.
I mean, I think first one for me with that, and that if you're talking Stardom and AEW Women's Wrestling, Britt Baker versus Kairi, formerly Kairi Sane in WWE, the Pirate Princess, or whatever she's calls herself, with the amazing elbow drop. But anyway, that's super low compared to what I actually want to see. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll put it out to you guys first. What is a match that you would like to see on a potential New Japan AEW Super Show card? We'll call it all in for the sake of just keeping saying that big long sentence.
A dream match for me, and it is like a dream match because it can't happen at this point in time, would have been the Elite at their heights versus Bullet Club.
Oh.
Do it as like I don't know, maybe an 8-man. Maybe even a 10-man. Don't know.
Possibly, aye. Well, I mean, we saw the 10-man match with... Sorry, my wee boys just sent me a message on Skype. It's quite funny. I mean, sorry, to get us back on topic, the 10-man between Dark Order and the Elite on a Dynamite prior to Hangman winning the belt, that was spectacular. So, I mean, the Elite have previous in putting together massive tag matches like that. So, I mean, that would be awesome. And obviously,
unfortunately, with Omega being out and with the storylines where they are now, it's not the right time for it. But it's just cool to think about that match.
It definitely is. Any that would ping out to you, Harvey, mate? You get any in mind? I mean, I don't think you know New Japan as much as what me and Michael maybe would.
No,
your knowledge.
I was just going to say my knowledge of New Japan isn't great.
Aye,
to be honest, but I would like to see. Obviously, it's not going to be New Japan, but is it the female promotion? No,
sort of.
Stardom. Yeah.
It's no technically New Japan.
It's no them, but
it's this parent company.
If they bring because they don't have female wrestlers on it.
They don't share promotions in Japan.
They split promotions more. Maybe you're right.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see something done with the women, to be honest, to freshen it up a wee bit.
Aye, it'd be a good thing to showcase the kind of the top end of Joshi wrestlers from Japan, like on a card. I have a dream, lads, a proper dream match of a dream, right? with it, right. So I'm setting the stage for you here, guys, right? On the badge of New Japan Pro Wrestling, what does it say in the kind of bottom half, looping round? The kind of King of Pro Wrestling, King of Sports, whatever it is. I want a battle royale, 30-man battle royale, and call it the King of Pro Wrestling. Whoever wins it is the King of Pro Wrestling, and I want a 30-man battle royale with everybody, just everybody. I mean, the amount of guys you could have in there in a battle royale: Moxley, Danielson, Okada, Naito, Tanahashi, Ishii, Suzuki, Will Ospreay, Hangman Pete, CM Punk, everybody all in this. Best of the absolute best battle royale. Winner is crowned the King of Pro Wrestling. Have it once a year.
That would be
and let the King of Pro Wrestling, if it's a New Japan guy, he gets to challenge the AEW champ. If it's an AEW guy, he gets to challenge the New Japan champ.
I'm almost into that. As previously mentioned, I would love to see Ring of Honor be a feature in this.
Oh, fair. So to be fair, that's sideline in Ring of Honor. To be fair,
what if you did? If whoever wins could just every single promotion that competes in
pick a promotion.
Yes, right. Okay, I'll go with that.
No, right. Well, but all the promotion, the winner of it gets to pick his fight. We're going with the men here. Pick his fight with anybody he wants to fight against.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a champion.
Promotion.
Aye, it doesn't have to be
It doesn't have to be even a title. It just could be a fight that he wants to fight. Like,
aye, that's fair enough. Aye, whether it's a dream match or whether it's a title fight, King's choice.
The king.
Aye, he's the king.
He gets to do whatever he wants.
He gets. I like that. Right, so fantasy booking right in the middle of this, lads. That is my absolute dream. I think that would be incredible. And it would actually that would be the first battle royale outside of the Royal Rumble to have genuine meaning and be something on its own aside from the actual prestige.
Aye.
No, maybe not quite on the level of the Royal Rumble, because the Royal Rumble is still the best battle royale wrestling match. Mick, it's maybe not the best. It's the best known, certainly.
Aye. So I was going to say the best known.
Aye, best known, maybe. Best known.
Maybe not the best.
What it once was.
Aye. It has the biggest name, but the King of Pro Wrestling Battle Royale would be pretty amazing. That would be very cool. Worldwide appeal in East and in West.
Yeah. The hard, if you do that though, the hard thing is, what singles matches do you book round about that? Because you want all the top guys in there.
I know. I mean, do you have championship matches on it? Like, do you have an AEW title match that is just AEW wrestlers? Do you have a New Japan match? Do you do it like the way Ring of Honor and New Japan used to do it with the G1 Supercard?
Aye.
Because they would have that. They would have the Battle Royale with kind of mixed Ring of Honor and New Japan guys as well. Like,
so you have like one crossover match and then you just kind of share the card.
You can
your own matches.
You feature each other. I mean, God knows how they do it, but I mean, Tony Khan for me has more hits than misses when it comes to booking. So I'm prepared to let him have his crack at it. Like, I'm not saying I can book a better than him.
My biggest thing with it is that no matter what direction they go with it and what promotions are featured, etc., that they book into it. Like any other pay-per-view, they have a minimum of like 6 weeks of booking their storylines towards the pay-per-view across the different promotions.
Yeah.
And ideally, have wrestlers that are going to be featured in matches popping up in the various promotions, like doing some cross-promotional stuff. Build hype on it.
Agreed.
Don't just have this cared with all these dream matches just for the sake of it, with no meaning.
Just as an island onto itself. Yeah, because I mean that would be the big problem with that multiverse of matches thing. Was that it's just it's a fun show, but it doesn't mean anything. Consequences, Mick. Totally agree. Yep. Consequences, actions must have consequences. That is what makes the best kind of pro wrestling. Totally agree.
Also, just before you move on, because I can feel it coming, Will Ospreay versus anybody in AEW would be pretty much awesome.
Shout out as a wee side note, the match in the Windy City Riot, I believe, with John Moxley was an absolute barn burner, worth checking out as far as I'm aware from the highlights I've seen. Certainly,
I'm going to try and catch that tonight. I think I'm looking forward to it.
I believe he hits a Macho Man elbow drop off of the top turnbuckle over the fence on the outside of the ring onto a table.
Oh, Jesus!
I know. Aye, like, it looks rough, but it looks amazing. It looks amazing. It really does. But just quickly to turn this out to the listeners or viewers, if you're on YouTube, obviously. You want to be a part of this podcast. Do you actually want to be a part of this podcast? Well, I'll tell you what, there is a way. There is a way. Go to www.themidweekmashedtattie.com/contact. You'll find your wee blue icon with a microphone. If you press and hold that in, you can leave us a voice note telling us. There's a head shake from Mick.
Just click it. Don't press and hold. Click it. And
okay.
Fill in some details. Record your message.
So ignore all that. Just click it. Click it and tell us your dream match for this show. If it's worth us putting on the show next week, we will stick it on and we will give our thoughts on your suggestion. Absolutely. Promise from the bottom of my heart, if you guys get in touch, we shall respond. Cracking.
Indeed we will.
Indeed we will, lads. Anyway, right,
I was just going to say, you should consider opening that up to the W group, the Old Faithful.
I will chuck it out there. I will chuck it out there on
if they've got any matches that they want us to feature, any dream matches that they want us to feature. Obviously, by the time that circles back around, the announcement will probably have happened.
Yes.
So maybe we can make it a wee bit more specific once the announcement actually comes out.
Absolutely. We'll cross that bridge when it comes, my man. We will. But to talk about this week's AEW TV, big debut, massive debut, a 7'2" debut, if you will. Satnam Singh, lads. What went wrong? Because it did go wrong. Let's be honest.
Just watch it and you'll see.
Timing wise, they just brought him out too soon. The story wasn't there for it yet. You could argue that he's green, but I mean that is what it is. You can get away with being a wee bit green in the business when you're that size, but
yes,
the timing wasn't right. They needed to let that storyline sort of boil a wee bit longer.
Joe didn't get his moment either, being the biggest thing for me. I mean, Joe wins a belt. It's his first title outside of being in WWE for years. Ring of Honor TV champ against Suzuki, which was a brutal match, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
The state of Joe's chest, man.
That's actually a fair point.
That's why I didn't like what happened after, because I was like, that match and then that to I was just like, ugh.
It smacked a WWE to me. It was very WWE-ish. It was all about the heat.
It takes the shine off of that title. It makes that title feel meaningless almost.
Takes the moment away, Mick. It robs the fans of. They want to cheer and celebrate this epic, legendary wrestler, which Samoa Joe is. I mean, he is. He's a currently working legend. Like
something that I had thought about, right, and how that could have been better done. I didn't even think about the title aspect of it, but that ties in. So I'm doubling down on the thought that I had. You have Jay Lethal and Sonjay Dutt come out, but for one reason or another, you have Samoa Joe getting the better of them, and so the lasting image is him on the ropes with the title held up proud. Then at the what were they calling it on Saturday night? The Night of Champions.
Battle of Belts. Battle of Belts. It was.
At the Battle of Belts, then they come again, and Samoa Joe.
I'm that guy.
Samoa Joe is like,
you
know what I mean? He's holding he's like, let's go again, and then you have Singh appear. Then you have the big fella stroll out, and then it's.
I mean, arguably that's fair. Arguably, just do it the way they did in the Battle of the Belts and have that as his first appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the way that he came out after Gresham wins the Ring of Honor World Title, I thought that was perfect. I thought that was exactly what they needed to do. I mean, obviously, he's chokeslamming two jobbers that Dalton Castle's boys. I mean, they're no wrestlers, but still, the visual of this monster picking up two guys and drilling the double chokeslam, perfect. He comes in the ring. Gresham, obviously, as we've said before, 5'4".
Yep.
So when he's standing next to Satnam Singh, the visual is incredible. It is like, I mean, remember the film Avatar?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a human next to one of the guys. I can't remember the name of them.
It took me...
The big blue guys.
It took me all the way back to 19... I'm going to throw out 98. I don't know if that's the right year. And it was Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Paul White as the Giant.
There you go.
It's the same
child
sort of
next to a man,
Mm-hmm.
He is tiny compared to Satnam Singh. And obviously it's no Satnam Singh that even puts hands on him, it's the lethal injection that puts him down.
Yep.
And then Satnam Singh is dragging him to his feet, which still makes him only as tall as Satnam Singh kneeling.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can drill him with more kind of like slams into the mat. I thought it was great. I thought it was perfect. And then obviously Joe chases him off.
Yep.
Kind of for the save and that. They arguably just about righted the mistake. Obviously everybody is going to remember the debut, which is sad. That's the sad thing about this, is they're going to remember the really crappy debut.
Yep.
But, I mean, again, like I says, I've got to give Khan the benefit of the doubt. The Butcher and the Blades debut against Cody Rhodes, they came through the ring. Nobody knew who they were. It was awful. I advise you look at that on YouTube. It was a similar reaction.
Right,
the crowd were like, what? It was just treated with like pure confusion. Because obviously the commentators are always magically in the know somehow. So Excalibur's going, oh, it's the Butcher and the Blade!
Aye.
But what? I mean, what does that matter to anybody? It was similar, but they've brought the Butcher and the Blade into being a very fun kind of tag team. Mm-hmm. Especially the Butcher, man. I mean, there's a lot of love for the Butcher now. as far as a singles wrestler.
I've got questions about that. I don't quite understand where they're going with that, but we can come back to that at some point.
With the Wardlow thing.
I don't understand why he's suddenly the big bruiser when he's a notable tag team wrestler. Why is he suddenly the monster?
I think simply because he looks tough, mate. I think that's it. He's big and scary and bearded and, well, I mean, moustached, I think, innit? He's kind of went back to his big bushy moustache. The guy looks like St Bernard, man. That's what I think, man. It's a big St Bernard. But anyway, I'll tell you what, we've more headlines, so we'll get into it. Obviously, a new champion, TNT champion against Sammy Guevara. A bit of a heelish win. I think
I'd say that's the nod of the head. That's the right. Okay, we're listening to you. I'm turning heel.
Aye, I feel that's. I mean, obviously it was recorded on Friday, so the spoiler room were all wasted it for me immediately on the internet on Saturday morning. I already knew. I knew what was happening before I even put on Battle of the Belts. Knew exactly what was happening. You avoided it at least, but I mean I knew, so I thought, right, I'm not happy with that. But how have they done it? And for me, I think it looks as if they're starting the slight turn again for Sammy and Ty.
Yeah,
I mean, Ty's out there as his manager now. It would seem she's looking incredible. She's a gorgeous girl. Obviously, she's looking incredible. But they were obviously, she was kind of playing a part with interfering, knocking Scorpio's hands away.
Yep.
And that's how the win happens. I think that's like you're saying, listening to the fans essentially.
The problem is, I think you need to move them away for the feud with the ATT crew. I'm just calling them that because I don't care about
I agree.
Name for them. The push seems to be that in some fashion it's going to be Paige Van Sant versus Ty Conti. That's going to be the first match. I think that seems to be what they're working towards. But the question was, is it going to be a mixed tag match or is it going to be a one-on-one match?
Yep.
I think they just maybe come back to it as a one-on-one match, or maybe they bring the feud back up down the road when they're ready to do the match. Probably on the next pay-per-view.
Yeah,
give Paige time to get properly ready for it and then build in towards it. But I think for now, they need to leave that feud, because if you're going to fully turn Sammy and Ty, you can't have them feuding with another heel faction. It's not going to work.
He needs to. I think he needs to be doing the kind of challenger of the week and stealing wins sort of thing. The thing I wanted for Scorpio Sky, which I don't. For me, I still don't understand why that's not what they've went to.
Well, no, I get that. I would have been confused and bemused if they did that, because it doesn't suit the character or the faction that he's in now. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have fit it in with the storylines and stuff if he was being a champion that's defending the belt every week, because then you've got to question, well, why Sammy not getting his title shot if he's taking on anybody?
Well, I mean, we can only but see where it goes, I suppose. Wherever it goes, it's just a quick wee nod over here to Name Change Romania. Obviously, once again, running wild in WWE. I don't know if you saw, but Austin Theory backstage interview. He's now defined himself simply as Theory.
Yep.
His name is Theory.
For reasons. So there's apparently the word is there's been a memo came out from Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
From the top. It's went out to all the talent in WWE from henceforth. Nobody is to use their own name in any capacity or a name that they've previously used on the indie circuit. So that's been basically now spoken of, the reason behind the change of Walter to Gunther. It's because he had wrestled on the indies as Walter. And then Yon Lassie Gonzalez. It's now Raquel Rodriguez, as we spoke about last week.
So that's because she was a funny one. So apparently her surname is actually Gonzalez, or it's her middle name or something.
Her shoot name is Victoria Gonzalez.
There you go. So even though she already had a technically speaking fake name, and she hadn't, it wasn't the name she'd used in the indies, it was partially her own name, so she had to change it. The chat seems to be that this is more a case of naming rights and copyright stuff, so that when you come into WWE, they create a character for you that they can own and control, and you can't then take that to another promotion, will you?
Aye. As we always kind of knew with WWE, that's the way they work. PW Insider have actually reported that next on the chopping block, as it were, name-wise, Casey Catanzaro and Kaylee Ray, obviously Kaylee Ray previously of ICW, they're due for new names effectively. Possibly as soon as next week we'll return, repackage with new names. Which, I mean, it's jarring for now. Like, obviously, folk are invested in these names and characters, watching WWE, just to suddenly be told, no comment this. Like, it's...
Aye. I just wish they would do it better. I mean, don't insult their intelligence with it.
I think that's the biggest problem I have with it, is the insulting the intelligence.
Aye.
We're not stupid. It's not the 80s anymore.
Aye.
We are much smarter as wrestling fans when it comes to what's going on. It's a more smartened up crowd you're dealing with, so it does seem a bit sort of lazy now.
My question for that I would love to know the answer. I mean, I can hear the animosity building up in Vince McMahon already before asking him the question, but I would love to know
What the hell do you want to ask me, Michael?
I would love to know, why don't you just install that as your way of working for every new person that comes in? Why do you need to change people that are already in the company? Because we already ken their names.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Somebody else new comes in for the Indies and goes into NXT or comes straight onto the main roster. Okay, bring them in as whatever gimmick you see fit, but why are you taking established members of your company and suddenly changing their name for no reason, effectively? You know what I mean?
For reasons.
Makes no
Reasons, inverted commas,
the most
as you always
egregious one
say.
to me, other than obviously the whole Nazi fiasco, the most egregious one to me is the Pete Dunne one.
Aye, Butch.
Like, you may know him as another name, but we call him Butch.
Aye. They referred to him as a rabid Wolverine in SmackDown, by the way. That's Chris Benoit's nickname, the rabid Wolverine.
Aye.
Which is...
Aye, that's dicey.
That's
That's a
wading
slippery
into
slope.
very odd
That's a
territory there,
slippery
aren't they?
slope.
Aye. Like, why bother?
Aye. Yep.
Again, they think their fans have very short memories. They're not trying... I mean, it's been obvious for years that they're not after wrestling fans. They're after casual fans.
Aye.
They're after big numbers, regardless of whether they're smart to the business or the kind of the backstage stuff or not. Like, which, fair enough, it's made them a lot of money. Obviously, it's made them a hell of a lot of money. Incidentally, did you see the pre-sale for the SummerSlam in the Principality Stadium? 59,000 tickets reserved for pre-sale.
Wait,
the biggest ever pre-sale.
Is
ever for WWE.
Is it been confirmed that it's
It has
SummerSlam?
been confirmed that
Because
they're going to do...
The press release I saw said that they were bringing I forget the wording. It was something like they were bringing a
Premium
large
live
event. They didn't
premium live
specify
event.
in the initial press release that it was going to be SummerSlam.
I believe it's meant to be SummerSlam, which, I mean, it runs against All In that weekend as well, which, I mean, that's the real reason they're doing it. They're wanting to hit a competitor, basically. They're wanting to make a stab at a competitor, which obviously now, funnily enough, you're seeing the riposte with the announcement from Tony Khan this week, so it's kind of a wee bit tasty in the wrestling world again, which can only be good for us as fans. I mean, if you like WWE, then more power to you, man. It's up to you. You can like WWE, and they're definitely trying. I mean, whether I agree with what they do or no, they're definitely making an effort right now. Like they are trying to give a show to their fans.
I still live in hope that they'll get better because of all this. That they'll at some point see reason and produce a better product.
Right.
I mean, for me, that would be the absolute kind of good storylines.
Well, you know what it is. It's because they're under pressure. As much as they know that they don't like to admit it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, under pressure. AEW, like as I said, how many times? Shit, I even said it in my blog.
You did say it in your blog.
AEW, opening the
Forbidden Door.
the Forbidden Door then, and just like going with everybody, it's just going to make them bigger, make everybody else bigger.
Yep.
And that's what it's doing right now.
It's
And
just
WWE are taking notice, and they're like, I mean, it even led to them inviting somebody onto, oh God, who was it? The lassie.
Oh, Mickey James in the Royal Rumble.
Mickey James, Royal Rumble.
Aye, well, she was the Impact champ.
Yeah, exactly, you know what I mean?
Which
is, they've never done that before.
No, absolutely. Absolutely
You know,
not. Aye, and it was Impact
watching their
Wrestling, Mickey
backs.
James. Aye, they are, mate.
They're watching their back and they're like, oh God, like, we can lose here, we're losing numbers. Which
Aye,
in turn is them losing money, so they're like, well, you know.
Yep.
I totally agree, mate. I mean, it's only good for fans. That's the biggest.
Aye,
the biggest
exactly, because if it forces them to put on a better show, to make a better product, then, you know what I mean, you'll have all these different promotions that you can sit and watch, like, who have genuinely good shows.
Absolutely. Yep. A buffet for all. That's all we're after, man, as wrestling fans. It's good stuff to watch, man. I mean, it's definitely helping. I mean, obviously, look at Cody fucking Rhodes. I mean, Cody Rhodes, I mean, he was allowed to leave WWE because they had no idea what to do with him. I mean, yes, we maybe don't agree with the way he's kind of handled himself, maybe from what we can see on the outside, but we can't argue with the fact that he's made himself a monster star, and WWE have made such an effort to make him a big star now that they've taken him back. I mean, I don't know, have you seen the announcement? He's wrestling at WrestleMania Backlash, although it's already a rematch, which, I mean, he's everything about WWE. Seth Rollins, mate. Yep, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania Backlash.
Rematch.
Bloody
So
idiots. They can't have anything good, honestly.
They're already WWE in it. But then, he had a very good WrestleMania match, so some people might actually want to see that. I mean,
that's the thought.
For me, no.
That's Vince saying that was a really good match. Let's do that again.
That was good. Get them doing it again, damn it. Get back out there. I mean, he did a match on Raw with Miz, and I mean, this is where I don't agree with. I mean, there was a lot of AEW centric. No, but wait. wait. It was a good match, Mick. It was. And he's got to win against somebody, so why not the Miz, who's he's a famous wrestler. He's been in Dancing with the Stars. He's a very well established and safe heelish pair of hands to work with for Cody. I mean, I get that. That's not bad booking for me. It's just jumping back into a match you've already done, which was effectively a let's do it because the fans will enjoy it match. Like, oh well, fuck it, let's just do that again because the fans will enjoy it again. Like, it's no the way I like it, but I can see why people would like it. Like,
wow,
I can appreciate it.
In this new run for Cody Rhodes in WWE, is it just the two matches he's had so far?
So he's had the Seth Rollins match, promo, then the Miz match.
Right.
So it's now the Seth Rollins match coming up at Backlash.
Right. So in the matter of a couple of weeks and a couple of matches, WWE are already making an arse of it, and the writing in my eyes is already on the wall for what's coming for Cody Rhodes. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic here, but like if like the big thing with Cody coming in, he done it himself after he's won at WrestleMania. He's motioning that he's coming for the belt.
He stated that with his big promo.
You need to build towards that immediately. I'm not saying you need to give him, and the next night you put him straight in for a match for the world title. No, but you start building a story towards that. If you fling him in a throwaway match with The Miz, unless he's cutting a promo run about that's very meaningful in terms of him stating what he's there for and what he's going to do, then it's nothing more than a meaningful match. Meaningless match.
Meaningless, nah.
You put him back in against Seth Rollins. That's stalling out Seth Rollins' career and his story. He's going nowhere for 2 months, 3 months because he's no building towards anything. They're just rehashing the match. You've got to have Cody win again, right? You want to make sure he's going over as the face, and you've made all these promises about he's going to get a title run, etc., etc. You can't have him lose. The only way Seth can win is if it's something dodgy going on, and if something dodgy happens, then sure as fuck the next pay-per-view they're having another match because that's what WWE does.
Yeah, they just
Aye.
rematch into the ground. I mean, by the way, the other announced match for WrestleMania Backlash, and I know you rant again.
Oh no, I've heard this. This is another rematch, isn't it?
Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Yep, I quit match this time.
Because the first thing that everybody said after that match was, Jesus Christ, I need to see that again.
Let's watch that again. Aye. No, it was not. On the upside, they've got RK Bro versus the Usos for a tag team unification match. While I don't know why they're unifying their belts. Maybe they're working on a smaller roster now, so they're just working on a set of tag belts. Fair enough. But that match will be a cracker. That'll be good.
I've seen some rumours that they're moving towards unifying the brands again, doing away with the brand split. So
you would imagine that an IC and US title unification's coming as well, probably, in WWE. But then again, they don't care about their IC belt. They don't care about their US title belt. No, I mean, Finn Balor and Ricochet, the champions currently, they weren't even on the WrestleMania cards. I mean, it just, for me, the Intercontinental Championship used to be cooler than the World Heavyweight title with WWE back in the day.
That used to tell you who was going to be the next big star.
Who was going to be next? Who's the working man's champ now? Who's on their way up? That's what that told you. But now it just tells you what jobber's getting pinned 5 times and then sneaking a win in a pay-per-view. or if it's the Miz, they'll get booked quite all right, but not quite that well. I mean, the Miz is about the only modern IC title holder that's been worth watching. But another story for another day. Speaking of booking, Mike, the Wardlow stuff. The Wardlow stuff. So you again have concerns regarding the Wardlow story. Talk to me, my man.
It's one of the things in WWE. It's one of the things in AEW that reeks the most of WWE to me in recent times. I called it pretty much straight away when they went down the route of not having Wardlow win the TNT title. And then MJF does his whole thing about, you work for me, you don't work for AEW, blah, blah, blah. Straight away, I could see the writing on the wall, right, they're going to go through a whole thing for the next few weeks where Wardlow's no allowed to be in the building, but sure as fuck, he'll show up every week and then he'll get booted out by security. And, of course, that's what's been happening. It's been done at least twice in WWE, if no more. It's, it's tried and tested. It's a WWE move. On top of that, they're finding every which way they can make MJF look backed into a corner and frustrated with it. They're coming up the rate. They're doing the FTR match and Wardlow comes out and they nearly lose. So FTR's raging with MJF and they want to leave the Pinnacle. Then they're doing the chairman and he's getting beat for
Sean Dean, yeah.
That's the man.
Captain. And
then they're making the song and dance, but then he then has a match with MJF and MJF's going to sort him out and they're fighting the security, etc., etc. And then sure as fuck, there's Wardlow again. And Dean gets the victory via count out over again, MJF. Yep.
The only man to ever hold a win streak against MJF, Sean Dean.
Like, that for me, other than the fact that Sean Dean's getting on the telly, it's doing very little for him. Because he's not getting much time actually actively wrestling in the ring. He's basically just getting a kick in and then getting a win. You know what I mean? It's quite empty in that regard. His name's getting out there and he's getting some face time in the telly, so that's good for him. I'm sure he's happy to be on the telly and working in Dynamite.
He's a lower card wrestler. He's only ever going to be a lower card wrestler.
It's not doing that much for him. It shows that MJF's in a bit of a pickle with the whole thing, but it doesn't really weaken him in any way. I
think that's the point, though, Mick. Is no weakening.
It definitely is, but that in itself is a WWE move. It's like, this is what we're doing. This is the match. Everybody kens this is the match, but we can't just do the match. It needs to mean something and be a pay-per-view. So we're going to fanny about for 6 weeks. We're going to pretend like they're going to have a fight, but something's going to get in between them. You know what I mean? It's so just done. Like,
however,
do something
can
fresh.
You appreciate that you're in the minority here, Mick?
No, I totally get that
because the crowd are loving it. I mean, it's connecting.
That annoys me as much as anything else. The soap opera
of it is connecting with the crowd, with a larger crowd. People are loving it.
The crowd turned on Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti so fast.
Yeah.
yet this gets a pass. Explain that to me.
No, I do agree with that. I find the booing of Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti to be really fickle and shitty of the wrestling crowd. With this narrative that Ty Conti has somehow stolen him away from his ex-girlfriend. Like, that is... I cannot stress enough how that is fuck all to do with us as fans. We are just daft marks. Consume what they are showing us. Take fuck all to do with their personal life. I do not care what Sammy is doing when he's not in telly. If he's a rampant shagger, whatever. Who cares?
Dogs?
Well, that's a bit weird. The same universe where you're a dog. I'll pump him back as hard. But I could not care, man. So I get what you're saying there with that sort of very fickle reaction towards Sammy, which, I mean, fair play to Sammy and Ty. They've just went, fuck it, right? We'll have fun with this. That's all the more power to them, but they shouldn't need to have to put up with that. I agree, Mick.
This is my take on it, right? There's another thing that's very done. It's been done so many times before in wrestling, right? But it's a proven concept. I suppose to a degree you could argue this is, but in the WWE world. But anyway, there's this proven concept of, and I'm trying to think of I'm sure there's a phrase that's normally used in the industry, but anyway, it's basically of...
Okay.
Oh, that's what it is. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? It's take somebody away until you've forgotten about them, and then have them pop back up in a big, meaningful way, and then everybody loves them, and they've missed them. Do that with Wardlow. Look at how over he is. Go for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. You don't see him, but you hear about him because MJF is constantly telling every cunt in the dog to no talk about him.
But I'll tell you what, remember I suggested this. I said... Somebody commented that into Wrestling Observer.
Right.
Have him serve a 90-day no compete.
Right.
With his contract.
Aye.
So you're on board with that?
Aye, 100%. I think what they're doing is so naff and so lazy. Like,
aye. It's very soap opera-ish, aye. Harvey off camera has dubbed this mixed tirade.
I'm just over it.
Not mixed monologue.
The big goal with any storyline, right? And this is paraphrasing for Paul Heyman, right? But this is what wrestling is all about. It's about taking two big stars, having a fun match, having the crowd pop, and then creating a new star. Having a big star, have a great match, popping the crowd, creating a new star, and then you recycle it. So your new star takes on somebody else, and then you make another star, and you make another star. The thing between MJF and CM Punk made an absolute star out of Wardlow. He is so unbelievably over with the AEW audience. Job done.
True.
What are we doing with Wardlow and MJF? Get it done and by way. Move them on to something new and fresh.
Aye.
Okay.
I get what you're saying there. Aye.
I can see where you're coming from with this. I can appreciate where you're coming from. I'm in the fence where I don't mind the story currently. I'm not taken on by it. Like, it's not my favourite thing on there, certainly, but I don't mind it. So I can see where you're coming from. I will give you that.
I will relent.
I will give you relent for a wee second, my man, till we talk about this Ring of Honor TV. Sorry, that is doing a great disservice. The Ring of Honor World Title match was on Battle of the Belts. So this was the first showing of Jonathan Gresham to a larger audience under the AEW banner. Obviously, the match was with Dalton Castle. He was challenging Dalton Castle and his boys, as they are known.
Yep.
I think first thoughts for me, the biggest star here when these two guys made their entrance, one looked like an indie wrestler and one looked like a TV wrestler, and that was Dalton Castle for me, guys. I thought he looked the business when he came out. I thought everything was kind of Tron picture with the peacock feathers behind him.
Yep.
The way he came out, his music similar to Radio Gaga. Obviously the boys doing all the dancing round about him and all that. I thought it looked brilliant on TV, and I did not expect to think that because I've seen him before and thought, don't get it.
Aye.
I got it on Saturday. I got it.
To me, he's like two WWE guys kind of blended into one. it like what he's doing, other than the flamboyance of it and being a wee bit over the top, arguably, that's maybe a wee bit too risky for WWE. Well, maybe now and again, maybe nowadays they would go for it, but outside of that, everything he's doing is very WWE-ish. And for me, if you take Fandango and that guy, what was that guy's name? That Young Party guy, what was his name?
Oh, Adam Rose.
Adam Rose, him. Put the
Adam
two of
Rose
them
and the
together,
Rosebuds.
and you have got
You probably get Dalton Castle,
Castle,
and make them wear their shorts right up by their belly button, because they are some pair of trunks he's got on,
an
man.
interesting look.
And it just it's quite, it is a vibe, but
Very flamboyant.
very, very flamboyant. I mean, no
fun.
harm to Gresham. He doesn't look like a big star coming out. It's a bit of a basic entrance in that. So maybe doesn't he show him off as this big deal, but obviously that's not his thing. His thing is being the worker, the grafter within the night. It was a good match.
Aye,
Definitely was a good match.
it was a good show.
A bit more sort of old school kind of carnival-y, kind of playing to the crowd kind of stuff and all that. Like,
It felt like a Ring of Honor match.
aye, it was a Ring of Honor match on TV, which is, I suppose, is a plus because it shows they're not losing their identity that they previously had for their other company. Like they're being allowed to dance the way they know how, like the way they did
Yep.
in Ring of Honor. But I mean, it was a good match. Again, Gresham looked very good. But I mean, for me, Castle again was he was the main man. I thought I really enjoyed it. But I was just to say that I enjoyed it, lads. I mean, where's the place going forward? Would you watch a Saturday night 1 hour Ring of Honor show?
100%. I will watch whatever they do with Ring of Honor. 100%. I'm not a traditional TV viewer. I watch things my own time. I'm all about on-demand stuff. So I don't really have a dog in the fight in terms of what time slot and what day,
What
etc.
time to? Yeah.
I couldn't care less as long as I can watch it. But in my mind, logically, it makes sense to have the 3 shows be during the week, and you keep the weekends for your pay-per-views and your one-offs like the Battle of the Belts. But
It makes sense, mate.
what day of the week it's going to be or whatever else, I don't know. But I'm 100% I'm watching it.
Aye, up for it.
What? I watch it, but I'm a bit like Michael. I don't really watch like time slotted stuff. I'll watch when I want to watch it.
Aye. As we can do it nowadays.
Here's the point.
It's
When
a
I
different wrestling
can.
world. Aye, that's it. When you can.
What if they turned Battle of the Belts into a literal Battle of the Belts?
Or just swinging belts at one another.
Oh, sorry, no literal. Sorry, no literal Battle of the
Literal in the
Belts.
literal sense.
I mean,
literal in the non-literal sense.
Aye, sorry, man.
I literally the sense
My
like
brain just saw Hangman
When
Page
it
and
was
Jonathan
like-
Gresham swinging belts.
Yeah.
obviously like the AEW Women's Champion fights, Ring of Honor Women's
Oh,
Champion.
right,
and then
okay. So, like,
World Champ against World Champ, like. Aye.
I mean, maybe once in a while, a big Battle of the Belts.
No,
I think their plan with Battle of the Belts is just a sort of showcase sort of thing for AEW. Maybe when it's the right time for TBS, if there's nothing on that Saturday, they can kind of go to AEW and say, fill this hour if you can. Are you up for it? And I think that's how it's being used. So it's never going to be a pay-per-view show. I think that kind of thing that you're talking about would be better served for...
Would be a bit, as a pay-per-view,
Aye, and the
once
likes
a
of
year.
these once a year all-in shows, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
I mean, I hope they call it all-in. I would love it to be all-in.
aye.
That'd be awesome. But, aye. That's the way I would kind of see that, lads. Anything else we've got before we jump out of this podcasting world here, lads? Any other kind of thoughts on the weekend wrestling?
No, I'm really annoyed with myself because I did have something.
I was expecting
and
to hear
said,
from Harvey.
I don't need... No.
Oh.
And I said, I don't need to write it down because I'll definitely remember it. And guess what? I bloody it
It's
forgot.
gone. So next week
And I've been
we'll
trying the
definitely
whole
hear
wrestle
from-
match to remember it, and I can't remember
It's
it.
gone. We shan't
It's
hear
just
from Harvey
gone.
this week then.
I would like
However,
to
we'll
know,
hear from
Paul,
Michael. Yes, my man.
who, if anybody, was the winner in a non-literal sense From the Hangman Page, Adam Cole, Texas Deathmatch. Now that it's all said and done, what was the fucking point of that?
I mean, it's a good question. Why did they need to run it back? No, I agree. I think effectively it's just down to the fact that they've booked a show, a live Rampage, so they need to fill it with a big match. Obviously, Rampage is usually just a pre-tape affair on a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
After Dynamite's done, they go straight into taping Rampage.
Yep.
For Friday night's TV. That's in certain occasions they have live rampages, so that's why it served its purpose. I didn't need to see it again, Mick. I'm not going to lie, but again, as always with Hangman Page matches, he's exciting.
Oh, it was a fun match. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the match.
Epic. So many cool spots, like the dead eye through the table. I mean, that's a no look pass, like. In basketball, he has no idea where he's jumping. He can't see where he's going. And he's going to jump back into the side and protect Adam Cole on the way down. So the Texas Death Adam match, I don't know, man. It didn't make a great deal of... I didn't need it, no, I agree. I didn't really need it.
To me, it felt like... See, the first match with Adam Cole, there was enough going into it that I was bought in. I was in the story. I felt like I was confident that Cowboy was winning it, but I was bought into it enough that it was fun and enjoyable and I was into the story. But this felt very reminiscent of the Texas Death match with Lance Archer. It was just, we've got a spot to fill, we need a big match, we've no Hood Page fight in a wee while, let's put him in a big marquee match.
It's largely been the criticism of Adam Page's reign as a title holder. He's the champ, but for some reason he's nowhere near the biggest star on TV.
Yep.
People are wanting to see the Blackpool Combat Club. They're wanting to see. They're wanting like. Man, my mind has went blank. CM Punk, obviously. CM Punk been a big one. Samoa Joe, Keith Lee, Malachi Black, House of Black. We're wanting to see all these things, and then obviously there's Hangman Page. Aye. He has majorly suffered from the end of the Kenny Omega feud, with Kenny Omega immediately going off injured. Like that has hurt Adam Page, I agree. And it's not been... I thought it would have been more fun. I feel like the chase was that big that it's knackered the whole thing. For Hangman, like, for Hangman's chase for the belt started when the company began, where he loses to Chris Jericho for the first ever world title match. And from then, he said this massive... I mean, we've covered it on here before, the massive big crisis of confidence. He finds success in the tag with Omega, but eventually his limitations and his problems outside of the ring catch up and he loses the belt. And then it's the rise out of the fire like a big, mighty fucking dragon. And he wins that belt. But now what?
Aye.
But now what? Like,
there's just no a plan B for Omega being away injured. They've just no had anything else. But I really want to know what they're thinking is. Like, are they literally just thinking we just need to keep him busy and just fill time?
The problem is all the biggest heels are doing other things. Where's his threat? What's his threat? What is he to be scared of right now? Malachi Black's battering wee jobbers. Like, Lance Archer's away back into the desert shouting everybody dies at trees. MJF's running away from Wardlow, as we've previously covered.
Warpig. We don't say that name.
Warpig, sorry. War Piggy. Piggy's got him on the run. Like, there's no threat.
Aye.
Omega's on the shelf injured. Nothing scary. Danielson's too busy battering young men to make them hard men. Like, he's not even really a heel anymore, you know what I mean? Like, what's next? He needs a reason for us to worry about him. I'm not worried about what's happening with Adam Page. Like, I know he's like Lance Archer. Oh, I agree, big Lance Archer. He'll do awesome things, but I know he's not going to win. You know what I mean? Yep. And that's what's happening. It's went very, very stale.
I'll tell you something else. I don't think a babyface champion should ever be the one to suggest a fucking Texas death match.
Exactly. It's another. But I mean, why would you put yourself at risk if you're a good guy? I mean, I get it that he's a hard man and he's tough.
His feet decked.
But surely that's the monster heel that puts the babyface in peril.
Yep.
Right.
I agreed. Absolutely, Mick. There needs to be stakes, and it's something that they need to fix going in to Double or Nothing. What's his threat?
Yep.
CM Punk's is giving all the mentions. He's drawing a belt in air, but CM Punk's not heel. If CM Punk's his next match, then we know CM Punk's the champion because it's logical that you want your biggest wrestling star as champion. But it doesn't really do much for Hangman Adam Page.
It's shaping up to be a forgotten run. It's going to be so forgettable unless they pull something out the bag. He's just going to palm the belt off and he's going to fall back into the mid card.
There have been 4 AEW World Champions. There has been Chris Jericho, John Moxley, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman Adam Page, despite being arguably one of the biggest stars in the company, has had comfortably the poorest run as champion.
Yep.
People love watching him wrestle, but it's no drawn for a feud.
What would you do then, Paul, to change that, to turn that around and start an ascendancy?
One word: Miro.
Right.
There's a threat. There's something scary for him to fight as an underdog against. Miro. Where is Miro? Obviously, peek behind the curtain, Miro is currently filming a pilot for some show, so he's being allowed to pursue projects out with wrestling, which I think was part of his deal with AEW, so fair enough. But by Christ, are they missing him as a monster heel? He is a monster heel. He's perfect.
Aye.
He's a scary big man. He believes it's his divine right to be champion. He's a man that God believes in. Like, I mean, what a perfect fucking heel for the proud, humble babyface champion to worry, like for him to think, God, if I got it in me to beat this fucking giant of a man that can stretch me in two. But it's not there.
See, to go full circle, do you want to hear my suggestion of how I would have fantasy booked it?
Okay.
Remember all that ranting about MJF and Wardlow?
Right.
You have Wardlow disappear into obscurity because he's banned for appearing at AEW. MJF and his crew, the Pinnacle, Takeo and Hangman, and the Dark Order, if they want to get involved, they boot the utter shite out of him week on week until MJF is awarded a match, because obviously, as we've seen, Adam Page doesn't back down for a challenge, so he would give him the match quite easily. It would only take a couple of kickings. And then once the match finally happens, it looks like dastardly MJF, through his cheating ways, is going to win the match. And then, who's that big man in the security outfit that snuck in? It's Wardlow! Wardlow boots the shit out of MJF. Adam Page has been kept busy for a few weeks in a fun wee feud with MJF. Now we've got Wardlow versus MJF, meaning something again. Everybody's happy.
There you go, man. I like that. Yep, aye. That's not a bad shout as well. 2 good shouts from 2 good wrestling men on this podcast. Anyway, lads, as much as I could talk wrestling forever, it is once again the final bell upon this podcast. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be in this podcast, just leave us a voice note. midweekmashedtattie.com/contact. Click on that wee microphone icon and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Obviously, look out for Mix and Mash tomorrow. Hey, check behind one wee turn. You've got Combat Spuds, loads of talk on all the MMA, boxing, fighting. Why do we like it? God, you better get a listen. Anyway, lads, will we get out of here?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go. Bye now.
Bye. Bye.